Hey there, everybody. Thank you for joining me for another one-man review. Today I'll be looking at Daniel Warren Johnson's Murder Falcon with colorist Mike Spicer. This is a creator-owned project that he put out through Image. I'm a huge fan of Warren Johnson's work. I read and enjoyed Extremity and seen some other books by him. The thing that I dig most about him, besides the fact that he's a fantastic artist, is he can take a premise that sounds stupid, like the premise in this book, and turn it into something like really thoughtful and heartfelt that deals with really serious stuff while still being fun and goofy and over the top. And I think in this book it works the best because he's saying like that's his vision of what heavy metal is too. Um, that's why he loves metal. It's brash, it's silly, and it's completely unafraid to yell into nothingness, even in the midst of suffering. And that's what this book is. It's like fun, it's serious. It doesn't take itself too serious, but it does take it serious. It deals with nihilism versus hope and all of those things, but it has all of the like, screw it, we're just gonna like do some awesome stuff, man, and show some rad things. And like, it's a really powerful balance when people can pull that off. So the premise is goofy and fun in that way. So you have Jake, who it has broken up for some. I don't want to go into like the core of the story because that's something that you should just read. But for some reasons, have broken up with his old band, Bruticus, and he's got this magic guitar that allows him to summon this entity, Murder Falcon, from like the heavy. So it's kind of like the green and swamp thing. It's like where all things heavy exist, and he's able to tap into that. And in the heavy, there is a creature, Magnum Magnum Chaos, that's trying to break through. And Magnum Chaos derives its power from people falling into nihilism, losing hope, thinking that life is meaningless. And there's a good reason why the Jake has fallen into this sense of despair and giving up on life. And that's the emotional core of the book that's really powerful. And then the thesis of the book is basically like, look, the way you fight meaninglessness is you create meaning, you make art, you do beautiful things. Life is the meaning that you make out of it, which is a positive spin on nihilism that I've been a fan of for a long time. Like, look, yeah, life is inherently meaningless if you want to go down that road. But that also means that from the creative side, you have the poetic ability to create meaning. And it's like up to you. And like to me as an artist, I find that awesome. Um, so that's the message that runs through the book, and I agree with it. I love it. That's one of the reasons I love this book so much. You'll see some of the amazing art, some of the amazing creature designs that he does. He reminds me a lot of artists like Ryan Otley, who did a pinup in here, Paul Pope, who did a pinup, um, a couple other, James Heron, I think, is someone else, Sean Gordon Murphy, like is kind of in the realm of that type of artist with some cool maybe um, like designs from Hellboy or something like that. So when we find out that we have to go defeat Magnum Chaos, then it's Jake's job to put his band back together. And so we meet Johan on bass, and he also gets like a magical bass that calls forth this mastodon creature. And I can't look at that without hearing Mastodon's song March of the Fire Ants just playing through my head. I like that. You know, there's a lot of Easter eggs too for metalheads. But I definitely have, and I'm sure everyone has a different mental soundtrack, but I gotta hear like a certain soundtrack to this. They call the Mastodon Halford, so he's referring to Judas Priest, but I definitely hear the band Mastodon and their favorite riff. So that's cool that I'm constantly hearing riffs. I don't usually have a soundtrack in my head while I'm listening to a comic. And then they find their drummer, Jimmy, and they get Jimmy a flying drum set, which is like, you know, every drummer wants to do the upside down moving drum set thing. Well, this is a flying drum set that she can go. I was noticing here, even though he's such a dynamic artist, that the drummer looks a little stiff, and I was thinking about that. Like, I'm never happy with the way people look while playing drums in comics. Um, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because their arms are always in midair, and I want to see the hit or something. I don't know, but like as a drummer myself, like this doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't do it, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone do it in a way that feels right to me. So that's like a challenge I almost want to set for myself. Can I draw someone playing drums and make it look good? Um, so here you really get to see where this chaos creature is like Jake's own despair, his own nihilism is powering him, and it's really starting to take over. And then they get a magical cowbell that's like kind of the bright, shiny hope, ding, binging through, and it like makes this whole kind of fight happen. So there's a lot of stuff like that. I don't want to give away, there's a whole bunch more going on in the book other than what I've showed. But that's the thing. Put the band back together, go meet some other musicians and collaborate to make art to fight back the chaos and meaninglessness of the universe. And it ends with really touching ending scene, and I love it. It's a great book. Everyone should go get it. Some cool extras that were in here. This was a short story that appeared in some Image Plus book or something like that. It's got a cool sketchbook section, and you get to see like how Warren Johnson thinks, which is always cool. And then you get to see some original art pages in here, and these are interesting because like from a forensic standpoint, there's a lot of cool like whiteout techniques being used. Some tone techniques. One of the pages, I forget which one of them, this one looks like there was a lot of sketching done on a computer printed out in a non-photo glue that he could ink over. I don't see that in the other pages, so I don't know if he does that on everything, but definitely doing some drawing on the computer and printing it out and then inking on top of it. He's one of these guys. All those artists that I mentioned are really devoted to and committed to actual ink, and obviously is an ink slinger myself, someone who loves ink. I love seeing that. These would be really cool pages to see just in black and white. I would love a copy of this book in black and white. And then this one's nice because this looks like it's shown at size, so you can really get a sense of all of his techniques in here. Maybe some evidence of the computer printout, but not much. Seeing him using what looks to be like actual tone and painting on top of it with whiteout, and just how loose and expressive his line quality is while still being like tight and like lots of stuff going on and detailed. You can see that kind of Paul Pope looseness in there. So really cool. Band's called the Dragon Wagon. So I really enjoyed these extras. As someone who enjoys pure ink art, I would love to see his books look like this. But that's just me as a fan of black and white. And then you get some pinups in the back with a lot of different people that I put in the category. Lorenzo Di Felice is another one. Ryan Otley, Erica Henderson, Paul Pope. So there's a lot of artists that I put in a similar category as people who are kind of mixing this action manga stuff with more American styles. Paul Pope, Mike Mignola, that kind of all comes together. Here's a really awesome, I mean, you just look at the layout on that page too. So yeah, absolutely love this book. Totally cool. Recommend it for anyone. If you're a fan of metal, you absolutely have to get it. Even if you're not a fan of heavy metal, then I still think you'll enjoy this book. If you just like action and a touching story, that's what you should be getting. Then if you haven't yet, make sure you get your copy of the now Eisner nominated The Strange Death of Alex Raymond. This is by myself and Dave Sim, put together, designed, and published by Sean Robinson of Living the Line. And then Sean's got another book that's up on Kickstarter right now, Yokoyama Yuichi's Plaza. It's a totally wild, also very musical manga, really, really loud, and it's really at the cutting edge, I think, of manga. It's a very exciting book, and the Kickstarter's up now, and you can get a regular edition or you can get a 1 of 200 special edition that are running out, where you could get actually an original sketch on a book plate in your book. So if you haven't got that yet already, definitely get Plaza. It's going to be an amazing book. Thanks for following along. Take it away, Jack.
You want to see all these books? Smash that subscribe button and the like button and the bell, and then you get them.